A pregnant dog signals the arrival of adorable little puppies, but regrettably, some owners choose to avoid the additional responsibilities. Tragically, a similar fate befell a mama dog who was 9 weeks pregnant as she was left abandoned outside an animal shelter. However, when they noticed what she gave birth to, the staff couldn't believe their eyes. Pregnancy is a challenging experience regardless of the species involved. Unfortunately, this little puppy found herself on the verge of having her puppies, only to be abandoned by her owners in front of a shelter during one of the most vulnerable periods of her life. On December 22, 2022, just days before Christmas, a white dog was callously left in front of the animal shelter known as Instituto Amor em Patas. IAPA is an animal rescue shelter situated in the city of São Paulo, Brazil. The shelter had become accustomed to receiving a steady stream of stray and abandoned dogs needing care. However, this particular pup stood out to the staff due to her advanced stage of pregnancy. The canine, affectionately named Tragically by the shelter staff, displayed an unusually large belly for her size, indicating that she was nearing the end of her pregnancy and carrying many puppies. When Tragically was first brought into the shelter, she exhibited extreme nervousness, which was completely understandable given her circumstances. She'd found herself in an entirely unfamiliar environment, far from her comfort zone, abandoned by the humans she once trusted. Fearful for the well-being of her unborn puppies, she desperately needed reassurance. Fortunately, the shelter staff comprised compassionate individuals who genuinely cared for the well-being of animals. Their utmost priority was to create a comforting and secure atmosphere for the mama dog, ensuring she felt safe enough to deliver her puppies. Recognizing the situation's urgency, the shelter staff understood the importance of helping Tragically settle in quickly. They knew that if she didn't feel safe and secure, she might delay giving birth to her puppies, jeopardizing their lives and hers. Thankfully, the staff calmed Tragically's anxiety and conveyed their genuine intentions of providing her care and protection. Once Tragically had become more comfortable in her new shelter surroundings, several staff members took the initiative to schedule a visit with the shelter's veterinarian for the following day. They had concerns about her health, as she appeared weak and lethargic. Additionally, they sought to monitor the progress of her pregnancy and ascertain if any complications were likely during delivery. The veterinarian determined she was healthy after a thorough health examination, including an ultrasound scan of her belly. With this positive evaluation, Tragically was allowed to return to the shelter for the remainder of her pregnancy. However, a perplexing question remained. If Tragically was deemed healthy, why had she been abandoned in front of the shelter in the first place? Despite her abandonment, she did not exhibit signs of neglect or extreme malnourishment that one might expect from a stray dog living on the streets for an extended period. This observation prompted the shelter staff to consider various reasons behind her abandonment. After much contemplation, they concluded that Tragically's former owner must have become anxious upon realizing her pregnancy. The visible growth of her belly indicated that she was carrying a substantial number of puppies. It is likely that the owner either couldn't afford to care for the expanding canine family or simply didn't want the added responsibilities. Thus, they made the heartbreaking decision to leave Tragically at the shelter. Determined to provide the utmost care and support to both Tragically and her soon-to-be-born puppies, the shelter workers established a watchful eye over the mama dog. This vigilant attention aimed to ensure her well-being and address any potential complications that may arise during her pregnancy and delivery. From the moment she arrived at the shelter, a dedicated staff member would remain by her side, ready to offer help whenever needed. They ensured that the mother dog had ample food and water to sustain her, and they took every measure to keep her warm and comfortable. One of the staff members would often sit with the pregnant dog to provide company and offer physical support. They gently propped her up, leaning against their body while massaging her swollen belly. This gentle manipulation was intended to relieve some of the pressure and discomfort caused by her advanced pregnancy. Additionally, they hoped that these soothing, circular motions would encourage the puppies to progress toward birth. As the days went by, the shelter staff grew increasingly concerned. Tragically had been pregnant for about 9 weeks, nearing the end of the typical gestation period for dogs, which usually ranges from 58 to 68 days. The delay in her delivery had raised worries among the staff members, prompting them to monitor the situation closely. Fortunately, the situation took a positive turn, and there was no need for veterinary intervention. Just as concerns were mounting, Tragically finally began her labor. The signs of impending birth became evident in the early hours of the morning. The dog had been displaying restlessness and discomfort for some time. Still, she eventually found a comfortable spot and settled down to initiate the delivery process calmly and controlled. The entire staff had eagerly anticipated the arrival of Tragically's adorable puppies. However, what unfolded next surpassed everyone's expectations, leaving them utterly astonished. With the arrival of the first puppy, a sense of joy filled the air. One of the shelter staff carefully scooped up the tiny bundle of fur and brought it close to its mother's face, allowing her to fulfill her instinctual role of cleaning and bonding with her newborn. The first puppy was a sight to behold, a beautiful little boy adorned with a coat as white as his mother's. As the firstborn found its place in the world, the anticipation grew for what was yet to come. It didn't take long for another miracle to unfold as another puppy entered the world. Excitement rippled through the shelter, and each new arrival brought a sense of wonder and curiosity. The staff eagerly awaited the birth of the remaining puppies, pondering just how large Tragically's litter would ultimately be. Typically, dogs have an average litter size of around 5 to 6 puppies. However, after enduring several hours of intense labor, the shelter staff were astounded by what unfolded before their eyes. Tragically had defied the odds and delivered an astonishing total of 14 puppies. The sheer number of newborns left everyone in awe, and they were overjoyed to witness the successful birth of each one of them. The puppies, resembling miniature replicas of their mother, boasted the same pure white coats and adorable pink noses. It was evident to anyone who saw them that they were Tragically's offspring. With all the puppies accounted for and safely brought into the world, the shelter staff wasted no time ensuring their well-being. They promptly scheduled regular checkups with the veterinarian to monitor the growth and development of these precious little ones. Fortunately, all the adorable puppies were in excellent condition, thriving and rapidly growing daily. Tragically, the mother dog, had given birth to many babies, making it challenging to nurse them all simultaneously since she had limited teats to produce milk. The dedicated staff separated the puppies into smaller groups to assist Tragically, allowing only a few to nurse at a time. They implemented a rotating schedule to ensure that every puppy had the opportunity to receive an ample amount of nourishment. The entire shelter team was overjoyed for the mama dog and her puppies. They held high hopes that once the puppies reached an appropriate age and were fully grown, each one would be able to find a new, caring, forever home. The staff eagerly anticipated the day these precious pups would embark on their journey with loving families, where they would spend the rest of their lives cherished and adored. What do you think of this incredible birth story? Let us know in the comments section below. See you next time. Bye for now.